Universes Beyond situation just got a massive update today that could potentially solve the problem that everyone has with it. Mechanically unique cards have been a problem ever since the first iteration of it with The Walking Dead, but future implementations such as the Godzilla variants of cards, aka reskins, were implemented as a sort of solution to this that were unfortunately not widely used. Take a look at the latest Final Fantasy set, a set that uses mechanically unique cards from Final Fantasy, but also has reskins of some popular Magic cards as well. But with all that in mind, we have the announcement of Through the Omenpath, a implementation program for Universes Beyond on the digital platforms. Now, for paper, that these products will be around for a while. We've historically seen, especially with the Commander products, where key legacy and vintage pieces, maybe not key, but interesting cards have been available, but hard to come by, especially with the Warhammer 40k cards that are actually no longer available for purchase and will for forever time just keep increasing in price. This announcement could be a way for cards to actually come back into circulation, be available for play, and then again become accessible that were not before due to their mechanical uniqueness. Let's dive right into it and explore some of the implications. So this is the announcement, and it's actually pretty short and provides, honestly, it might actually produce more questions than answers. But Through the Omenpaths and Digital Universes Beyond, April 21st, 2025, from Blake. Every time I release a Universes Beyond set, we get a similar question. Is this going to be on Magic Online or Magic Arena? We've typically handled this on a set by set basis of yes or no. We'd love for the answer to always be yes, but sometimes things don't work out that way. But all along, we've wanted a more permanent solution, which is good. Now, this might not necessarily address the long-term availability of cards in paper, although that might just have a larger circulation run. But it does help when it comes to digital releases, which have historically had a problem, as I alluded to in my intro. And with the Universes Beyond sets being legal in all formats starting with this year, we needed a consistent and reliable answer. Enter Through the Omenpaths. Now, if you remember, I'm going to try and link it down below, but there have been just so many ongoing changes. Obviously, as they just mentioned, Universes Beyond being legal in all kind of sets. We said that in the before times we wouldn't be doing that, but now they're going to be standard legal and onward. But also a while ago we had a introduction or a posting for a position at Hasbro Wizards of the Coast for a licensing manager, or like it was a position, I'm forgetting it right now, but it was a position for digital licensing. And the big speculation was that Universes Beyond was becoming so successful, especially with Lord of the Rings and everything, that they wanted to just grab it by the horns and just really tame the beast. And they wanted to just make sure that when it came to the implementation of the Fallout set, the Doctor Who set, and all these Commander specific sets, even Warhammer 40k that had a lot of powerful cards out of it that consistently see a lot of Commander play. When it came to these cards, they wanted to make them universally available. And we saw that with specifically the Fallout sets and the Warhammer sets, those are the ones that come to mind. They were available for purchase for a limited time, or at this point aren't even implemented in the case of some of them. So they want to fix this problem and make sure that on the digital platforms that these are available. Now, of course, for Arena, the Fallout sets and stuff like that doesn't really matter for those formats. But when it comes to now being standard legal and maybe potentially bringing those cards legal from the past, this could be a way forward. Through the Omenpaths releases will be digital sets that are universes within versions of Universes Beyond sets that otherwise wouldn't be coming to digital Magic platforms. These digital cards will be mechanically identical to their Universes Beyond tabletop counterparts, but with unique creative elements, unique creative treatments, different arts, and different names. Now, this is where I have a little bit of hesitation. We're going to explore some different universes within implementations already that aren't really readily available. So I'm interested in how this gets implemented, but I have some questions. So this is raising another question. The first question is going to be further alluding to the digital licensing part of it, that position, to see if that even helps. Was that part of the success of that position? And I hope it is. Was this announcement part of that position coming down the line? What is it? What do we mean by creative treatments? And also, are we potentially getting a backlog of cards now being reintroduced? Let's see. We will not be creating Through the Omenpath sets mirroring every Universes Beyond set. Only the ones that will not be coming to digital platforms. Okay. This lets our formats remain mechanically at parity. Our formats remain mechanically at parity with one another digitally without having to create patchwork solutions here and there. We are also currently only planning to create through the Omenpath releases for full sets that are legal in all formats. Ooh, we got an answer to one of our questions. For the remainder of 2025, 2 Universes Beyond sets will be coming to MTG Arena and Magic Online. The Final Fantasy set and Magic the Gathering Avatar: The Last Airbender. Those are the releases for this year. One 2025 set, Magic the Gathering Marvel Spider-Man, as well as future Marvel sets, will not be coming to digital Magic platforms. Instead, we will release our first through the Omenpath sets on September 23rd. We'll have more information as we get closer. So that's really interesting. So again, we have the Universes Beyond sets in there. It's interesting to see how far they got with licensing. It looks like maybe the Disney paycheck was a little too much to pay. When the check hit, when the request hit the bank, might have been a little too much. It might have been a little too much. So they have to go with mechanically unique cards, and they had to use up a lot of internal resources to make something like that work. Now, if we go to something like this, so let's go to Rick Steadfast Leader. Now, Rick Steadfast Leader, $50 card. Whether or not it's actually worth $50 is a whole different discussion, but it's just scarcity. Universes Within solution is Grayman, Avis, and Stalwart. Now, you'll notice there are no further printings of Grayman, just the Secret Lair drop and the Universes Within cards that are only available through the list. Grayman, Avis, and Stalwart obviously is a card from the Innistrad plane. So we can see Grayman in the future in Innistrad if we return. So that's something to look forward to. But for now, has no printing past this. So if you wanted to play Grayman in Commander, if you didn't want to proxy, you want to just purchase the card. If you wanted to play him for Legacy for whatever reasons, I mean, human type-al, sure. Then you cannot purchase this for a reasonable amount, or even at a reasonable availability, probably, because of its lack of printing. And so that was the original problem with these mechanically unique cards. Now, if we kind of differentiate this further, if we just look at Godzilla. Now, if we look at these implementation of cards, so BioQuartz Space Godzilla, this was the implementation where they used alt arts. It was reskins of cards like, so this is the actual card itself, Brokos Apex Forever. Now, this is the card, like, actually, if we go into all prints, we'll get a better look at this. But Brokos Apex Forever is the original card, and they got a reskin of it, and they got the name of it underneath. This ideally would be the best way to implement this, but of course, it may not invoke the same level of hype. Maybe there was something about the Godzilla licensing that they were trying, or maybe a way that it was limited before they had that whole that new digital licensing role that they hired for. This was made well before that and well in advance, and so maybe they were testing things around. But these are two examples of different implementations of how to have Universes Beyond with their mechanically unique cards be available to us. Now, the problem here is that with this new digital licensing, we do have the ability, and this first part isn't the problem, but like, follow along with me here. You do have Final Fantasy and Avatar: The Last Airbender being eternally available. By the looks of it, so far, this is alluding to the fact that they will continue to always be available for purchase on Magic Arena and Magic Online. That is the assumption. Now, they say that it's coming there. Doesn't mean it's not coming for a limited time. But the first one that's going to be through the Omenpath is going to be the Marvel set, the Marvel Spider-Man set. So in paper, we will have Spider-Man. But on Magic Online, we will have different cards. So now we're approaching this idea that honestly is a little bit of a hack job solution, but it works. I will give them credit. This solution works. It just moves away from new player accessibility, which is fair. I mean, you're bringing in new players, you're bringing them into a wide new world of something that's pretty much like Union Arena, except instead of anime, you are now pitting Gandalf against Megatron, against SpongeBob, against the Amazing Spider-Man, right? Like an Astartes warrior underneath Spider-Man, equipped with an Assassin's Creed, sword, like it's all there. It's all there, right? The memes are all there. This is the first implementation of it. But as they mentioned, the bad part about this is this last statement. We are also currently only planning to create through the Omenpath releases for full sets that are legal in all formats. So the current plan is no full implementation of Warhammer 40k, no full implementation of Doctor Who, no full implementation of Fallout in the long term, especially because the resources don't align with Magic Arena. I imagine this will also now get these 3 sets that I mentioned and more to skyrocket in price a bit more. They will probably spike again in terms of availability on the Magic Online economy. They will become even more expensive. And there are cards in limited quantities, notably. There are a select few that notably are very good cards in Legacy Vintage, but of course are now going to be harder to now play 1-for-1 on online versus not, especially in terms of just getting the card. Price is one thing. I think a lot of Legacy and Vintage players are okay with that. Even Commander players are okay with just if they pay for it, sure, but the actual availability of the card is going to be in question when it comes to online. Now, less so for Commander, that's going to matter because Commander may not be the most popular thing online. Dual Commander is, but that's 1v1. When it comes to paper, a lot of people might choose to kind of proxy and everything. But when it comes to digital play of Legacy specifically, obviously that's not a format that Wizards of the Coast necessarily cares about, but it's relevant when it comes to the availability of certain cards that actually do see time to time Legacy play. Now, when it comes to these cards, I don't know. We don't have a solution for them. And that is the big thing I want to point out. Yes, this is probably a downstream success of that role being hired for, but it does not address the lack of implementation of those sets in the past. It does address some of these things in the future, which I'm happy about, but it also bodes a big problem for those limited only releases that we did have in the past. Those are a lot of cards that a lot of people have a fond connection to, especially in terms of the IPs that they chose to tackle. And I'm really worried about the general availability of this. I imagine those cards may even in paper spike a little bit, but online they will definitely. I'm thinking of cards like Radstorm, and then there's like the something of Saint Catherine. It's like mono white. It's played in like the Beanstalk decks in Legacy, or was at some point. I can't think of it, but those are the 2 cards that off the top of my head, again, may not see the most play, especially like Radstorm and stuff, but does have the capacity to be played in those archetypes. And so I'm happy overall. I think this is a net positive announcement, and I'm excited to potentially see them address this more tomorrow. We're going to obviously see the full implementation of Commander, but I imagine Blake will also kind of address this as well. And as of the recording of this video so far on Twitter, I don't see anything further. I just immediately read this article and just started like filming and everything. So maybe there's some further clarifications down the line. I'll do my best to add them to the description and to the pinned comments and everything in the video. But so far, we don't see any other adjustments or any other addendums to this article so far. Let me know what you think about through the Omenpaths, the implementation of Universes Beyond. Let me know what you think about this in terms of having, yes, you have some parity, but the names and some of the treatments, which I also want to address. Actually, before I end this video, I do want to address that the treatments are the unique part. So are some of these cards only going to be available in like special arts or something like that? Like, what does that mean? And of course, that's digital only. So you're not really necessarily worried about the 1-for-1 in paper. Whereas like in paper, if it was that you created universes within unique cards, but only made them available in foil, that would be interesting. But I'm curious what they mean by treatments. They'll have different arts, different names, but ultimately, I think it's net positive with some glaring holes. It's like a 60-40 thing. Overall, it's positive, but I think there's some glaring holes.